Hello YouTube, what's up? Dunkus32197 here. Today I have something different for you. Again, I'm starting a new series. But I don't know if you guys are familiar with Machinima, and if you are, I don't know if you're familiar with the commentator Dunkus. But he is doing a thing called the World's Weapons, and basically what he's doing is he's taking Call of Duty weapons and he's comparing them to the real life counterparts. So basically I thought, why don't I do something like that? But I don't really compare them and compare the differences, but compare like if they were used or something. So I'm kind of piggybacking off them, but not really. But I thought it'd be interesting so you guys know the history of the weapons and everything. Today we're doing the MP5K. I have two gameplays. One is a short one on Nuketown, and it's lagging a bit. I don't know why the sound and everything is, I believe, so I am very sorry for that. Let me check that again. Yeah, it is, it's lagging a bit, and it lags right here, and then it shapes up. Anyway, let's start off with the versions of the MP5K. There were, I believe, let's see, there were about 6 different variants of the MP5K. You had the MP5K A1, you had the MP5K A4, the MP5K A5, and the MP5KN. Oh no, there weren't 4 variants. There were 6. My bad. MP5K A1, MP5K A4, MP5K A5, MP5KN, MP5K PDW, and the SP89. MP means machine pistol, machine pistol in German. The MP5K was produced by Heckler and Koch. This is a variant of the MP5, which has a dozen variants. The MP5 production started in 1964 with Heckler and Koch, and they started like experimenting with different variants of the MP5, and then got the MP5K, and in 1976, MP5, and then in 1966, I believe, they created the MP5. 10 years later, you fast forward, they're working on MP5K variants, and they come out with the Kurz version, which is the short version, and it has the Shisher Einzelfuhr Verstoß trigger grip, which is the safe, semi-auto, and full automatic trigger group in English. But basically, the MP5K started production in 1976, which makes it too old for the SOG to have used it. So kind of weird right there. So I don't know if the SOG might have got some of the MP5K prototypes that they were making or something. So I don't know. But anyway, I'll go over its specs. It was Heckler and Koch, encouraged by the success of their G3, developed a family of small arms consisting of 4 types of firearms, all based on the G3 layout and operating principle, which it's about 7.62 by 51 millimeter NATO chamber. I think bullet, and then 7.62 by 39 millimeter M43 round, and then the intermediate 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO caliber, and then the 4-type chamber and the 9 by 19 millimeter parabellum pistol cartridge. The MP5K was created within the 4th group of firearms and was initially known as the HK-54, HK standing for Heckler and Koch. Work on the MP5 began in 1964, and scarcely 2 years later, it was adopted by the German Federal Police, Border Guard, and Army Special Forces. That's from Wikipedia. Most of the specs are too. It's 2 kilograms or 4.4 pounds. That goes for the MP5K, the A1, A4, and the A5, and it is 2.78 kilograms or 6.1 pounds for the MP5K PDW. So I think the SP8. Well, no. And then the length, the receiver end cap is 325 millimeters, or 12.8 inches. For the MP5K, the A1, the A4, and the A5. So I'm wrong. It was 7 variants. My bad. So there were 7 variants: MP5K and MP5K A1. Barrel length is 115 millimeters or 4.5 inches for the all the MP5Ks. The width is the same. I believe. Hold on, yeah. It's 15 millimeters or 2 inches. And the height is 210 millimeters or 8.3 inches. Cartridge, like I said, it's 9 by 19 millimeter parabellum, 10 millimeter auto for the MP. Well, those are for the other MP5. So I think it takes 9 by 9 millimeter parabellum. Action roller delay blowback with a closed bolt, and then its rate of fire is 700 rounds. No, wait, 900 rounds a minute. You see, I'm using rapid fire on the MP5K. I believe this is now on array. But as you see, I'm 900 rounds a minute. So with rapid fire, it must be a bit more. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, let's go over the effective range for the MP5Ks was the same for each of them: 100 meters or 328 feet. The feed system, 15 or 30 or 32 round detachable box magazine, or 100 round beta C mag drum. I think that's for the MP5. It couldn't be for the MP5K. I guess it could. I don't know. I guess 100 round beta C mag drum magazine, and it has the iron sights, rear rotary drum, front hooded post. All right. It's basically a 9mm submachine gun of German design, developed in the 1960s. This is the MP5, which, you know, 1970s for the MP5K, blah blah blah, by Heckler and Koch. So let's talk about the different variations. We have the MP5K, which was just the regular version. It was very short of the MP5K. I mean, it was shorter than the MP5. It used the SEF trigger group, which I told you is safe, semi-auto, and full automatic. So safe, semi-auto, and full auto is SEF trigger group. It uses that. MP5K A1 was the MP5K with smooth upper surface and small iron sights. So a little bit smaller iron sights, and it still used the same trigger group. MP5K A4 was a 3-round burst, sort of like the M16, I'm presuming, with the 3-round burst trigger group. MP5K A5 was basically the MP5K A1 with 3-round burst trigger group. And then you have the MP5K-N, which was the Navy, the MP5K with the Navy trigger group, and 3.
Friendly care package inbound. Enemy care package inbound. Friendly spy plane inbound.
From Wikipedia, so I'm trusting it. I couldn't find anything else really. We already went over the links and everything. Let's talk about which version is in this Call of Duty. The version that's in Call of Duty, I believe, is probably either a prototype because the handguard is not the same as it is with the MP5K, the original one. So I'm assuming this is a prototype. It looks probably, from description wise, it looks probably like the SP89, but that was only semi-automatic. I mean the foregrip. Other than that, I really don't know. Probably just a prototype. But it's not. Like I said, the MP5K, the first one wasn't even developed till 1976. I skip past this chopper gunner right here. But there's not really a lot else on the MP5K. I mean, it was a small little gun. I mean, very small. You really used it for light fighting. Well, let's look at who used it. I think Turkey used it in Germany, and somebody else used the MP5. I'm sure many different nations use the MP5K. But overall, I think it was probably a very effective gun. I think some of the countries still use it. I'm not sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But basically, this is kind of just like SMG. You know, just the standard SMG. There's nothing really that interesting about it. Heckler & Koch was a good company. They made a lot of very good weapons. So I haven't read a lot of history on the MP5K, but I'm sure it was a good gun. I don't know if it had a lot of overheating issues or not. None were mentioned about it, but
Enemy spy plane incoming.
I think there's a couple more minutes, but I'll look real fast if there's...
Enemy spy plane incoming. Our spy plane's in the air. Friendly sound turret on the way. Heads up, enemy RCXD spotted. Time's almost up.